Welcome to Storytime, where the shadows come to life and the night whispers tales of terror. If you're ready to feel the chill down your spine, you're in the right place. Let's dive into tonight's story. The first thing they heard was the roar, a deep, bone-chilling sound that echoed through the dense forest, reverberating off the towering pines. That was the moment they knew. The moment everything changed. The sun was still high in the sky when five friends, Emily, Mark, Rachel, Josh, and Sam, arrived at the edge of the Whispering Pines forest. They had been planning this camping trip for months, excited to escape the city and spend a weekend surrounded by nature. "Look at this place," Rachel exclaimed, her eyes wide with wonder. "It's like something out of a fairy tale." Emily smiled, feeling the tension of the past few weeks melt away. "It's perfect. We couldn't have picked a better spot." Little did they know, the forest had a life of its own, a dark, ancient force that didn't take kindly to trespassers. The group set up camp near a crystal-clear lake, the water reflecting the vibrant greens of the surrounding trees. Laughter filled the air as they pitched tents, gathered firewood, and prepared for a night under the stars. As dusk settled, they gathered around the fire, roasting marshmallows and sharing stories. Mark, always the entertainer, their laughter ringing out as they unloaded gear from the back of an old, battered pickup truck. The plan was simple, a weekend camping trip in the heart of the Whispering Pines, a remote forest rumored to be untouched by human hands for centuries. It was a place where nature still ruled, wild and free. A place where legends whispered through the trees, carried on the wind like secrets meant only for the forest itself. Jenna, the planner of the group, was the first to hop out, her face glowing with excitement. "This is going to be amazing," she said, pulling her long auburn hair into a ponytail. She had always been the adventurous one, the one who convinced the others to step outside their comfort zones. Beside her, Mark, her boyfriend, grinned as he slung a heavy backpack over his shoulder. "As long as you don't get us lost," he teased, though the map in his back pocket suggested he was more prepared than he let on. The rest of the group, Eli, the joker, Sarah, the cautious one, and Ryan, the quiet observer, followed suit, each of them eager to escape the stress of everyday life, if only for a few days. They were a close-knit group, friends since college, bound together by shared memories and a desire for adventure. This trip was supposed to be a break from their routines, a chance to reconnect with nature and each other. As they set off into the forest, none of them noticed the way the trees seemed to close in behind them, as if the forest was swallowing them whole. The path was narrow, almost non-existent, winding deeper into the heart of Whispering Pines. The sun, which had been bright and warm, now cast long, eerie shadows that danced across the forest floor. But the group paid no mind, too caught up in the excitement of the journey. After a few hours of hiking, they reached a small clearing, perfect for setting up camp. The ground was soft with moss, and the trees formed a natural barrier against the wind. As they pitched their tents and gathered firewood, the mood was light, filled with jokes and laughter. The forest, however, remained silent, as if it was waiting. By nightfall, the fire crackled cheerfully in the center of their camp, casting a warm glow on their faces. They sat in a circle, roasting marshmallows and sharing stories, the kind that always seemed funnier when told under a starry sky. But even as they laughed, there was a tension in the air, a feeling that none of them could quite shake. It was as if the forest was watching them, listening to their every word. It wasn't until the fire began to die down that the first strange sound reached their ears. A low, rumbling growl, so deep it seemed to come from the earth itself. The group fell silent, exchanging uneasy glances. "Did you hear that?" Sarah whispered, her voice trembling slightly. "Probably just an animal," Eli said, though his usual bravado was missing. But Jenna frowned, her eyes scanning the darkness beyond the firelight. "It didn't sound like any animal I've ever heard," she murmured. Mark stood up, grabbing a flashlight. "I'll go check it out," he offered. But as he moved toward the edge of the clearing, Jenna grabbed his arm. "Don't," she said, her voice urgent. "Let's stay together." Mark hesitated, but the look in Jenna's eyes convinced him to sit back down. The group huddled closer together, their earlier laughter forgotten as they listened to the sounds of the forest. The growl didn't come again, but the feeling of being watched only grew stronger. As the night wore on, sleep came reluctantly. Jenna lay awake in her tent, staring at the canvas above her, listening to the soft breathing of her friends around her. The forest was too quiet, the silence pressing in on her, making her heart race. Just as she began to drift off, she heard it again, a soft, almost inaudible whisper, like the wind through the trees, but with words she couldn't quite make out. "Leave, before it's too late." She bolted upright, her heart pounding. "Did you hear that?" she whispered, but no one answered. Her friends were fast asleep, oblivious to the eerie voice that had sent shivers down her spine. Jenna lay back down, but sleep wouldn't come. The voice echoed in her mind, a warning she couldn't ignore. She didn't want to be the paranoid one, but something about this place felt wrong. She made a decision then and there. If things got any stranger, they would leave in the morning. But as she closed her eyes, she couldn't shake the feeling that the forest had other plans. That's just the beginning of Camping Trip in Forest. The woods hold more secrets than you can imagine. If you're intrigued, hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for Chapter 2. Until then, don't stray too far from the fire. The forest is always watching.